Quran 3:28 is about disbelievers, not Jews and Christians. False. For idolaters aren't people of the scriptures, or they wouldn't be idolaters. Quran 2:62 is about believers, that is Jews and Christians, or anyone who is a believer, that is Sabians. Right. Which is why Quran 9:29 contradicts Quran 2:62. They are talking about two separate groups. False. For again, idolaters aren't Bible believers, people of the scriptures. Only a graduate of Redneck Technical Plumber College says that there is a contradiction. No. Those who are truthful and don't do taqiyya, line for Allah, say there is a contradiction. No abrogation between 9:29 and 2:62. You are moron who cannot see the contradiction between 1 Corinthians 7:10 and 2 Corinthians 6:14. If there is a contradiction, then the Quran is false. For Quran 5:68 not only tells Christians to stand firm upon the Torah, stand firm upon the Injil, but Quran 5:47 tells Christians to use the Injil to judge therein of the Quran. One is saying, stay with unbelievers, don't divorce. The other is saying, be separated from unbelievers. Come out from among them. Is that before or after you married someone and found out that they were unbelievers? By the way, Paul says in the Injil, 1 Corinthians 7:10, quote, to the rest I say this, I not the Lord. Thus we need to stick more with 2 Corinthians 6:14. On the contradiction in Quran, I asked you to show with Quran 3:28, don't take unbelievers as friends, is to find some other verse YY that says do take unbelievers as friends. Why? Isn't that your job? You see, don't take unbelievers as friends versus do take unbelievers as friends. Where is this contradiction? Who is the moron here for asking that question? All you have shown is this. Quran 3:28, don't take unbelievers as friends versus 2:68. Believers, like Jews and Christians, have nothing to fear. Quran 5:51 agrees with Quran 3:28. Don't take unbelievers as friends. Yeah, it agrees with Quran 3:28. Again, what part of don't take Jews and Christians as friends do you not understand? And you call me the moron here. True? The only difference between Quran 3:28 and 5:51 is that 5:51 doesn't say, unless you guard against them, pretend to be my friend, like Quran 3:28 is telling you as a Muslim to do with me. Creepy. Let's attack each other with contradictions from the Bible and Quran. Then you will destroy the Quran, for the Quran says it confirms whatever scripture that went before it. Quran 5, that's Quran 5 verse 48. And the Quran says the quote before scriptures, Bible, is all his books. See Quran 4, 136, 150, 151, 152, 285, and 40, 70 through 72. And the Quran, quote, that calls itself a clear science handed out, explains things fully in detail, tells you, a Muslim, to come to me for my reading the before scriptures. That would be the Bible. If you're in doubt about the, quote, clear science, see Quran 1094. So go look for contradictions in the Bible, please. And now the next one. Do you think that's a good thing? Yes, 100% yes. Oh, you think it's a good thing to force people into Islam? Force them into paying a high tax under the threat of death until they fully submit to Allah? Aren't you to do taqqiya life for Allah and say you don't believe that? But since you think it's fine to force non-Muslims and Jews and Christians into being Muslim by forcing them under the threat of death with Quran 9:1-5 and Quran 9:29 in mind, well, what if it was reversed? What if a religion that believed Allah was many came into your country and forced Muslims to pay a high tax, like jizya, under the threat of death, like Quran 9:1-5 and 29, which ISIS is demonstrating in Iraq and Syria, And the only way you would keep from being killed for not paying that high tax is if you confess that there was no God but Mickey Mouse and Goofy was his messenger. And instead of worshiping the Kaaba and the Black Stone 5 times a day, every day for the rest of your life with your patootie in the air, you had to bow down to Disneyland 5 times a day with your patootie in the air on a prayer rug. Would you have a problem with that, O slave of the best of deceivers? Allah. You moron! How so? You'll have to show me a verse that says, take unbelievers as friends. False. That is your job. As far as I can tell, there's nowhere in the Quran that says that, or it contradicts Quran 3:28 that says, you can only be my friend to keep from being cut off from Allah, that the only way you can keep from being cut off from Allah, that the only way you can be my friend to keep from being cut off from Allah, if you guard against me, thus not really take me as a friend. Since then it will be a contradiction with 3:28, which says, don't take unbelievers as friends. Again, that's your job to present the contradictions to 3:28. For who is the jihadi, the pen here? Who? You misunderstood what I said about the Taqqiya-ing charger. A contradiction is between Quran and Quran, not Quran and Bible. Oh well, aren't you glad? I want to say a contradiction between a verse from the Quran and another verse from the Quran, not something outside of it. No, you just want to change the subject from the fact that even Jews and Christians, polytheists, were partnering Allah with a son, are to pay a high tax after being fought by Muslims for not fully submitting to Muhammad. Allah, see Quran 9:1-5 and 9:29. That's all. However, eventually I'll be happy to show contradictions in the quote clear signs. For example, Muslims say stone adulterer to death. Quran says put adulterer on house arrest. No, Quran 4:15 tells Muslims to lock up a lewd woman in her home until death takes her. Or, and here's proof that the Quran is not only not eternal, but is made up by Muhammad and on a whim, it says, or until Allah appoint a way. In other words, until Muhammad thinks of something better. That's not a contradiction, since there are two separate things. A contradiction in the clear signs is saying the earth was formed first, then the sky, which the Quran then says it was smoke and and another Quran scripture that has it more like online the way science has it. Quran versus Muslim. But if Quran says stone in one place and says house arrest in another, then it is a contradiction. If the punishment is opposite, yeah, well, Quran 9:29 contradicts no compulsion religion, a Quran scripture, for it forces polytheists. See, I didn't even say Christians here for you. Aren't I nice? For it forces polytheists to pay the tax jizya, where it would be lower, where it would be the lower zakat that a Muslim pays if they fully submitted to all Islam, and if they are killed for not paying it, Quran 9:1-5. You have a contradiction with no compulsion, a huge contradiction in the Quran if there is no abrogation in the Quran. Personally, I think the Quran doesn't abrogate itself, in spite of Quran 2:106 and some other Quran scripture that talks about abrogation. I think Quran 2:106 about abrogation is Mo's desperate attempt to explain Quran contradictions. You are thinking, I want to contradict you. You are thinking, I want to contradict a verse from Bible with a verse from Quran. I don't. Don't mix. Show contradiction between Quran and Quran. Okay. How about this? Oh, sorry, I don't have room for all the contradictions. How about if I just put the surah in verse without explanations, and you look them up with your web browser? 1. What was man created from? Blood, clay, dust, or nothing? A. Created man out of a mere clot of congealed blood. That's Quran 96:2. Quote, B. We created man from sounding clay, from mud molded into shape. 15:26. C. The similitude of Jesus before Allah is that of Adam. He created him from dust, then said to him, be, and he was. 359. D. But does not man call to mind that we created him out of nothing? Yusuf Ali. Also, that's 1967. Yusuf Ali. Also 35. E. He has created man from a sperm drop, and behold, this time man becomes an open disputer. 16:4. You know something? I think I'll stop it here. Yeah, I think I'll stop at 5.